Hi, this is Elwin Robinson, founder of Lionheart Herbs, High Energy Academy, Complete Detox Academy, and Taoist Health and Fitness Academy. So I've got a question for you. Are you sick of magic bullet, quick fix approaches to health which actually don't work long term? And if so, you're in the right place, because I understand exactly how you can get to that place of being sick of those approaches. See, I started off clueless about health. I mean, it's not like it's something that you learn at school or anything like that. And so when I committed to getting to extraordinary levels of health, which I did because I was experiencing fairly extreme levels of suffering and struggling with my health, I did so hoping to find a quick fix. And I looked out there and I saw all the weekend and 1 week cleanses, and I saw all the magic diets and the magic supplements and the magic herbs, and I tried each and all of them hoping that this would be the one thing which made all the difference. And of course, none of it did. In fact, trying all those kind of half-hearted quick fix strategies actually made my health significantly worse. And so what I discovered is that if you're already at an incredibly good level of health, then maybe just taking one little thing is going to resolve your health challenges. And if that's the case, then great, good for you. But if you're in a place like I was, where you're fairly depleted and low in energy, where you're fairly high in toxicity and you know that you need to cleanse your body, where you're probably quite weak and imbalanced, or if you're any of those things, then what you actually need is a real long-term strategy to get to those extraordinary levels of super health. And now, this is not an arbitrary list. This is something I've put together as a result of turning around my own health in a relatively quick time and then helping many, many other people. So I've worked with hundreds of people one-to-one, thousands of people, helping them in group setting with programs, coaching programs and courses, thousands of people as well with my books and my tapes and my other kind of programs. And what I found is that there are 3 key steps to super health. And it's important not just to know what the 3 are, but also to see they need to be in the correct order, to see what order to do each of these in. Now, as I talk you through this strategy, the way I'm going to do it is first of all briefly talk about the challenges which relate to each of these steps, and then look at the results that we're trying to achieve. And what's going to be really eye-opening about this to you is that you might have been trying to achieve something, maybe a challenge in level 2 or level 3, and maybe not getting very far because you didn't realize that you actually have to deal with the challenges in number 1 first. So this is an order, right? These aren't just 3 arbitrary qualities. These are steps that you need to do one at a time. Now, every situation is obviously different and every person is different, and so you may be in the position where you don't have these challenges and therefore you could move straight on and go to challenges for number 2, or you may even have none of these challenges and be able to move straight on to challenge number 3. But it's important to understand the order to do these in, because most people try and get ahead of themselves. Specifically, they're trying to look at ways to get fit, they're trying to look at ways to alter their diet, they're trying to maybe detoxify, and with all of these things, these are all awesome things to do, but if you try and do them when you're not ready for them, you'll find that they don't work at best, or in fact they can even make you feel significantly worse. So it is important to understand this order. So first of all, let's look at the challenges for step 1. So the challenges that relate to step 1, first of all, is low energy, which can be either a struggle to get going first thing in the morning, a struggle to keep going consistently throughout the day, maybe you have a mid-afternoon slump like many people do, and then a challenge seeing everything through consistently. So we're talking about having consistent high energy is the result that we want, and so if you have low energy, that's a challenge, right? Same with stress. Now, a lot of people don't see the connection between these 2 things, and some people may say, well, I don't have any low energy OM, but I have a lot of stress. Some people say, well, I have very low energy OM, but I don't have a lot of stress. And what we tend to find in those cases usually is that the person maybe isn't aware of the other side of the coin, right? So generally, when you're depleted, it will show up in one of these 2 ways. Either you'll get stressed very easily, you'll feel overwhelmed easily, you feel like you can't adapt to things, maybe your mind is racing and you worry about things all the time, or you may just collapse altogether. And both of these are ultimately symptoms of the same thing, which is a deep level of depletion. A depletion of what the ancient Taoists referred to as Jing, which is like your reserves of energy, and also relates to your ability to adapt to the world. And so this is actually the first thing to deal with. And if you try and deal with these other 2 challenges before you've dealt with this one, as I said, a lot of times things can get worse. And so what we need to do is aim for these particular results. Now, before we go through these, why am I talking about results rather than the to-do list? Now, unfortunately, there's a bit of a trick of human psychology which says that the more we focus on something, the more we magnify it and the more we create more of it. That's the key thing. And so when we're focused on our to-do list, all we get is more to-dos. So if I told you here are all the things you need to do in order to be healthy to start with before we clarify this, then all you're going to think is, oh my God, I've got to do all that. It's so overwhelming, especially if you're already stressed and feeling overwhelmed, right? So rather than focusing on that, we're starting with focusing on the result that you want. Now, why is that so key? Because when you focus on results, what you tend to get more of is results. And we'll talk about that more when we talk about mindset at the end of the video. But I just want to explain why we're looking at that first, right? So the results that we're aiming for first, and so this is important, we need to have got at least some success with getting these results before we move on to the next challenge. That's the key thing to take from this video, right? Is we're aiming for replenishment, right? We're looking to replenish those reserves. We're looking for relaxation, right? And so these really go hand in hand. A lot of the time when someone has low energy, in fact, always when they have very low energy, and I've worked with a lot of people with low energy, I've specialized in it, people with adrenal fatigue, people with chronic fatigue, these kind of issues. And what you always find is that they have a great difficulty in relaxing. So this could be relaxing the head, could be relaxing the body, could be letting go of emotional stuff, but whatever it is, they really struggle with relaxation. And so the degree to which you struggle with relaxation is the degree generally to which you will be depleted and be low in energy. And so that's an important skill to relearn so that we can replenish ourselves, and therefore the result that we'll have is we'll have reserves of energy again. So what does that mean? It means that we can cope if things get tough for a little while, right? It means that even if life gets more challenging or we have to deal with more, we don't collapse, we don't go into a stress cycle, we don't go into any kind of negative addictive cycle with food or with stimulants or anything like that. We can just handle it, and we can handle it because we have energy reserves. So a simple way to tell someone has energy reserves is when they're able to do everything that needs to be done and they're confident that they can do everything that needs to be done. That's a great sign of someone with high reserves. And so that's the first result we're really aiming for. Now, you may not have achieved this result perfectly before you go on to the next set of challenges, but I would highly recommend, based on years and years and years of helping many hundreds and thousands of people do this, that we need to get at least some success, at least made some progress with getting that energy reserves back again. Okay, so the next challenge when we're ready for that is to deal with blockages, toxicity and confusion. Now again, all these things go hand in hand. First of all, what do I mean by blockages? Well, let me give you a couple of examples. One example of blockages may be that you feel that your digestive system is blocked, right? So maybe you get a swollen belly after eating. Maybe you find it hard to have frequent enough bowel movements. Maybe it's skin pore blockages, maybe you have issues with your skin. And another example might be blockages with the energy flow through your body. So that might show up as bad circulation, for instance, right? Where you might have cold hands and feet, for instance. That's an example of an energy blockage. Then we've got toxicity, right? So what does toxicity mean? It basically means that we have a buildup of waste inside our system, right? We have more waste coming into our system or being generated within our system than we have waste going out. And this can show in all kinds of ways. It can show as headaches, it can show as pains in various places, it can show as blockages in various places, like we talked about the skin, or like we talked about the digestive system. So we want to avoid issues with toxicity as well. And then confusion, right? So confusion is something that actually goes with this. The more that we are blocked and the more that we have waste holding us down, the less that the cells of our body, and particularly the neurons of our brain, are able to communicate with each other accurately. And so the more confused we feel, the more cut off we feel from our innate intuition and our sense of what's what. And anyone who has been through a period where they're detoxifying too quickly definitely knows what I mean with this, because you actually feel, generally with detoxing, unless you know how to do it properly, which we're going to talk about, you often feel worse before you feel better. And you know that when you're doing, say, a fast or something like that, you might feel very foggy or very confused at least part of the time. And that's because that toxicity and those blockages are actually heightened temporarily. And so these things actually go together. And so again, we want to make sure that we deal with these challenges before we move on to the next challenges. And so the results we're aiming for here are free flow, purity, and clarity. Right? So what do we mean by free flow? So yeah, we mean free flow through your digestive, for instance, which means that you're not going to be constipated or blocked up. You're just going to have a balanced amount of bowel movements. We mean free flow through the pores of your skin, for instance. So they're not going to feel blocked. We mean free flow in terms of your breathing, right? So you're able to breathe freely rather than your chest feeling constricted. We also mean free flow of your circulation for the energy through your body, right? So that we feel an equal amount of warmth and comfort all over our body. Purity, right? So we're also looking at achieving purity. The saying for purity really is better out than in, right? We're looking at getting those toxins, all that trapped waste out of us, but of course we want to do it in a way that's sensible. Now, just before we move on, this is the thing to understand. The process of getting toxicity out of the body is draining to the body's energy, and it's stressful to the body. So can you see why, if your energy is already low, you're already depleted, and you're already stressed, detoxifying and cleansing is probably not going to serve you, or even if it does serve you, it's at least going to make you feel a lot worse for a while before it finally makes you feel better. And sometimes it just may not make you feel better at all, and I've spoken to many, many people for whom that's the case. And the reason is because their energy was already low, and their energy became even lower during that process of purification. They were already stressed, and they became even more stressed during that period of purification. So that's why we do have to be in that place of having energy reserves first. Assuming that we have the energy reserves, then to unblock the blockages, to get out the waste and get to free flow and purity is excellent. And again, we said that we can tell we've achieved step number one because we have energy reserves again. We can really tell, and again, this is perhaps not what you've read or what you've come across before, but this is my understanding based on having worked with hundreds and sometimes thousands of people, depending on how you define it, is that clarity is the next step. And so what I notice as people go through my detox program particularly is that towards the end of it, they have these moments of great clarity and they understand things better. And so generally during the end of the coaching process for detoxing, I ask if anyone has any questions or if anyone has any challenges, and they always say no. And it's not because their health is perfect or anything yet, it's because they know, they have that clarity, they have that connection with intuition of the heart, intuition of the gut, and they know what they need to do to move forward. So it's always a really wonderful thing to see. So clarity, and so if you feel a real lack of clarity, that is a sign that you probably shouldn't move on to step number 3 in most cases, and you need to really work on dealing with the blockages and the toxicity first. So let's assume that we've got to the result in step 2 as well now, right? So we feel a great sense of clarity, we have high levels of energy reserves, or relatively high. So what's the third challenge to work on? So the third challenge we want to work on is imbalance, first and foremost really, also weakness and aging, right? So all these things generally tend to go together again. So what does imbalance mean? Well, let's give you a couple of examples again. So this might be an imbalance with your blood sugar, right? Which means that your energy is imbalanced throughout the day. So you'll look at that a little bit when you look at energy, but this is something that you would really make sure you master here. What about imbalance with hormones, you know? So you may discover once you've dealt with the more obvious problems that you still have a little bit of fine tuning to do in terms of maybe you're too high in estrogens, maybe you're too high in adrenal hormones like cortisol, maybe you're too low in some other hormones like maybe testosterone, maybe progesterone. So it's about bringing everything back into balance, right? This may be balancing the digestive system, right? So maybe your digestive system is overactive and you're always hungry and you're burning a little bit too quickly, which with that speed of your metabolism, you're also going to be aging more quickly. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe your digestion is so weak and so sluggish that you can barely digest anything and everything just sits like a brick inside you. So in either case, that's a sign of imbalance, right? And so with imbalance generally comes weakness. So what might this be? This might be a weak immune system, right? This might be physical weakness even. The process of cleansing, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it safely and effectively, but nonetheless cleansing is a catabolic process, which means that it's breaking things down, right? It's breaking things down, breaking bad stuff down in order to move it out. So it's an outward moving process. And so this can leave us in a position where perhaps we have a little bit less muscle mass, right? Or we feel a little bit less strong. And so the anabolic process of building yourself up, right? Making yourself stronger. And this is equally applicable to women as well as men. You want to feel strong, at least, right? You may not want to have big muscles, but you want to feel strong and you want to feel capable and you want to feel empowered. And so weakness is another thing we want to deal with. Now, again, we need to do this in the right order, right? If we try and, let's say for men, use you as an example, if you're trying to build, if you feel quite weak and you're trying to build yourself up with weight training and creatine and steroid-like substances or whatever, I mean, it's not going to work for you, and it's especially not going to work for you. It's not sustainable long term if you're doing it without dealing with the more primary issues first, like toxicity, for instance, right? Or like an excess of acidity, which relates to stress. So you've got to do things in the right order. If we try and deal with weakness when we're still, we haven't got energy reserves and we haven't got mental clarity, then we're just going to do things that ultimately make us worse. In fact, that's exactly what I did back before I got into health. I went down the whole fitness only route and had lots of protein drinks and all the rest of it, and it just left me even more depleted, even more toxic. And then aging as well, right? So maybe we're concerned about the effects of aging. Maybe our skin is looking older, or maybe we're feeling older, maybe we're feeling stiffer in our joints, whatever it might be. So these are real important challenges. Again, probably not the first thing to focus on, because we need to have dealt with this more basic and foundational, fundamental stuff first, but it is important to address. And so the results that we're looking for here are balance, right? So we want to bring everything back into balance. We want to build up our strength, right? We want to make ourselves stronger. Maybe this might not be physically even, you know, it might be strengthening our mind. This might be strengthening our immune system. This might be strengthening our hormonal system, right? And then, of course, we want to counteract aging. Now, with everything else here, I've put kind of a noun. Rejuvenation is a verb, so it sounds like a process, but actually, it kind of is a thing that we're aiming for as a result, because what we're looking for is continual rejuvenation, right? So we want a body which is set up to be continually keeping us young, right? And therefore we can reach longevity, right? Which means lasting as long as possible. Now, obviously, I don't think I can speak too much about longevity, because while filming this video, I'm only in my mid-30s, but I can certainly talk about rejuvenation, because I know I look 10 years younger now than I did 10 years ago, right? So I know it's possible to reverse that aging process substantially and kind of turn back time and reclaim that youth, right? Now, what I found from doing this for a while is that there are actually two extra levels that you may want to go through. So at the end of this process, the end of this first steps, you've reached super health. Congratulations. You may think, well, if I'm at super health, what else do I need? So I'll talk about that in a minute. First of all, let's give you some guidance about how to actually reach these levels, right? So you have a couple of options. If you are really feeling super committed, like, yes, I absolutely know that, you know, okay, I've already been doing some of this, but I'm really ready for this one, or maybe you realize this is actually the one you need to focus on because you haven't done it yet, or if you feel that you're ready for this one, either way, then I want you to just use the links. You'll find them somewhere on this page. So if you're ready to really learn about how to get the results like we talked about here, then the place to go is High Energy Academy, and there should be a link for that there somewhere in the page here. If you're ready to learn how to create a free flow of energy, have purity, clarity, then the place to go is Complete Detox Academy, and there should be a link for that somewhere on the page as well. And then if you're ready for results like balance, strength, rejuvenation, longevity, go to Taoist Health and Fitness Academy. And again, the link should be somewhere on the page. Now, that's going to send you straight through to a page to learn about my very comprehensive, very results focused, very effective coaching program. You may not be at that stage yet. You may just be wanting to understand and learn more information. So I've got more good news for you. If you just want to have a free training which goes into detail about each of these, and I really hold very little back, right? So the coaching program is where I literally hold your hand and guide you and support you all the way through it. But if you just want the how-to information and you want to apply it yourself, I'm absolutely there for you to support that as well. And so you can get that absolutely free. All you need to do is enter your name sometimes, or just email address. I forget what it is on this page. Enter those in, and I'll send you straight away some free trainings on step 1 of this whole process, okay? And then you'll be guided through free trainings for the other steps as well, one at a time. Again, because I don't want to overwhelm you or overload you, so we start at the beginning and we work our way through. Now, let's look at those additional steps in case you're kind of curious about that, right? So what else do I need to, what else might I be interested in looking at? And then I'm also going to show you, before the training is over, the 3 key steps that I found in terms of mindset to really be successful. So make sure you stay tuned for those as well. So step number 4 in this process, this is one thing I noticed that a lot of the time when people have got through these, they then want to work out their optimal nutrition plan. So optimal balanced nutrition. Now you may be thinking, well, I dealt with that ages ago. And the answer is not really. So first of all, the thing to understand about food is that most of us over-focus on it, right? We place too much importance on it. And this is something that really goes back for hundreds of thousands of years, where throughout most of our evolution, of our species, all our ancestors, we could take almost everything for granted except for food. And our challenges were getting enough food and making sure the food wasn't poisonous or rotten in some way, right? And so we're really quite focused on food, more so than we need to be in this day and age. And so, however, there is a time to focus on food. And the time is really once we have got the results that we're talking about here. Then we can work out the right balanced nutrition plan for us. Now, bear in mind, everyone is different, right? So when I talk about this, I'm not talking about like the Elwin Robinson diet or anything silly like that, where you must eat this, you must not eat this. It's about working out what's right for you, right? Now, there are some hard and fast rules. It's not to say that it's all individual and whatever you want to do is fine, right? Like hydrogenated fats, for instance, are just not good for you. High fructose corn syrup just isn't good for you. But we're in the realm of natural foods. There tends to be less hard and fast rule, and so it's just about working out exactly what is optimal for your specific needs. Now, here's the challenge when it comes to working out what's right for us. How can we do that if, for instance, we're still confused? How can we work out what's right for us, for instance, if we're still imbalanced? How can we work out what's right for us, for instance, if we're stressed? And the bottom line is that we really can't, and that's why we need to get these 3 results first. So whatever you're looking at working out for your nutrition, so if you're wondering, oh, should I eat some animal foods, a lot of animal foods, no animal foods? Maybe you're wondering, should I eat more fat? Should I eat more protein? Should I eat more cooked food? Should I eat more raw food? Should I eat more spicy food? Should I eat more plain food? Should I eat more superfood? Should I eat more simple foods? Whatever your question is, the answer is that there are no hard and fast answers. And the answer is also, and this is frustrating to a lot of people, that it's hard to work this out while you're still dealing with these challenges, right? And so what I found again and again is when people try and work this out and they're still dealing with these challenges, they get led astray so often by their body's own tendencies. I'll give you an example. So, for instance, one of the most important things to work out in nutrition is to work out what balance of macronutrients is right for you. But for instance, let's just say that your liver is really overwhelmed and overloaded with blockages and toxicity, then it probably isn't able to digest fat very well. And so you might have fat really disagree with you, but it could actually be the fuel that your body really needs, right? Give you another example. What if carbohydrate is the fuel that's really ideal for you? But what if you're in a position where your blood sugar is completely unbalanced, right, and all over the place? Then you might be really sensitive to any carbohydrates, but that's actually the fuel that you need. But you won't know that. You would actually think that carbohydrates disagreed with you based on how your body is reacting while it's still challenged, right? Another example might be protein. You might be someone who needs protein as their main source of fuel. But if you're in a place where you are depleted and stressed, your kidneys are probably very likely already overloaded, and so an excess of protein is just going to make you feel even worse. And so in every case, the key thing is here to get these results first and just do your best with your nutrition up until then, but don't expect to have come up with the ideal plan. And then when you've got these 3 results, then the ideal plan, because you have a great level of clarity already, will come to you very easily and very obviously. And then it might just be a little matter of learning about things that I'm talking about, like what a macronutrient is, the various minerals, the various vitamins, and make sure that you're not missing out on anything, right? To have the very best plan to lead to more longevity and rejuvenation and strength and balance and all the rest of it. And so you will find a link somewhere on this page to learn more about that. But I would recommend that you really not get ahead of yourself and not at least expect incredible results in the area of, oh, wow, I found the diet that's just perfect for me, before you deal with these challenges. What is possible, I can tell you, is you can get to a place where you can eat meals that you absolutely love and enjoy, that you don't feel like you're missing out on anything, that are incredibly healthy, that leave you feeling energized and sharp afterwards, where you don't feel like overeating, right? And where you feel really genuinely satisfied on a deep level. And that is absolutely possible. I know from personal experience, but I know for the vast majority of people I speak to, even who are in the health world, maybe who are eating what's considered a very healthy diet already, their diet still doesn't meet all those qualifications. And the reason is because they're still dealing with these challenges. And so that's what we need to deal with first. And now the last step on the whole process, and again something I've found quite often, is that when people have got these level of results to a high degree, or at least to a reasonable degree, which puts them way above maybe where most people are at, then they might feel like, you know what, so many other people are struggling, and this is part of really having compassion, and I want to help them, right? And so their focus becomes more and more on contribution. And so I find out the people who are the most committed and who are the most dedicated and who get the very best results as a result of their commitment and dedication, that, you know, everyone is different, but some of them decide, you know what, Owen, I'd like to do what you do. I'd like to support other people in having optimal levels of health. I'd like to support them in staying consistently sticking to the things which they know are going to serve them. And so if you're in that kind of position where you've got a lot of these results, but you're interested in helping people and you're not sure how to do it, then I do occasionally run trainings where I take on a small group of people and help them to, first of all, become amazing results coaches, right? So coaching people to really get results. And then second of all, showing them how to reach people, how to enroll people, how to help people in the best possible way. And so if you're interested in that, then again, make sure that you sign up to using the sign up form, probably on this page. And then when I next have one of those opportunities come up, I'll send you an email about it, so make sure you watch out for that. Now, talking of coaching, let's do a little bit of coaching. Let's focus on what are the three most important qualities to focus on to be able to get all of these results. Now, the first key is really commitment, and I've been seeding that, I've been mentioning that throughout the training so far, if you've noticed. And so the key with commitment is this, is to commit to the right thing. So what do we need to commit to, right? Is it Elwin's system? No, probably not, right? Is it any kind of diet or any other kind of system? No. Is it yourself you need to commit to? Well, maybe, yeah, but not in the context of what we're talking about here. What you need to commit to is not the process, it's the result. Right? And that's a key, crucial distinction. So yeah, without commitment, you're probably not going to get very far. But ironically, often, if you commit to a process, like, I am going to do this diet, or I am going to do this fitness regime, I did that so many times. And because it was actually the wrong thing for me to do, because it didn't follow through in the strategy I just shared with you on the previous page, that commitment actually was counterproductive for me. So the key thing to really get is to commit to the result, right? So if one or more of the results, I hope all of the results I shared with you on the last page really resonate with you, then the first thing I'd like you to really encourage you to do is to commit to those results. To say, you know, whether you use my help to get there, whether you use anyone else's help, or whether you try and go it alone, the point is that you're going to do whatever it takes to get to that result. And when you have that commitment, and notice the way I say it as well, I'm not saying it like, I commit to getting the results. I'm saying it with passion, I'm saying it with enthusiasm, I'm saying it with purpose, right? And so that commitment is also, it's not a stale, dry thing, right? It's something with an emotional charge to it. It's something with a fierce kind of intensity about it. When you feel that way about a particular result, getting there is pretty much inevitable, right? So committing to result, step number one. Step number two is consistent action. Now, step number two just naturally flows from step number one if you are really committing it right. But nonetheless, most of people just don't feel very, very comfortable with taking action, right? Especially with something that they're not comfortable with, something that they're not familiar with, something that is new to them, right? But taking action and just doing stuff is the key to success. It's the key to success in anything, right? It's the key to success if you're looking for the love of your life. You know, you're not going to find them hiding in your house. If you're looking to you know, get a new career or start a new business, it's not going to happen through hiding in your house. And if you're looking to get extraordinary levels of health, it's not going to happen by just sitting on your sofa watching TV and eating chips, right? It's not going to happen through doing the same things you've already done. So you have to be willing to step outside your comfort zone and do something new, right? To actually try it. And not just try it as in, I'm going to try it for a day, but try it as in, try it consistently. I'll give you an example of this, right? A while ago, I tried a raw food diet, and I really saw it as an experiment. I did 100% raw food. If you've never heard of such a thing, don't worry about it. It's basically just eating no cooked food, no heated food. There are many advantages to it, including that it's very, very pure and free of toxicity. There are potentially some disadvantages to it. The point is, I stuck to it for just over 2 years before I decided that actually it didn't serve me and it wasn't the right thing for me to do that 100% anymore. But here's the key distinction. That was my experiment, right? So when I say I tried eating raw food, I mean I tried it for 2 years. I really gave it a good go. And I got a lot of great results from it. It really helped me to cleanse my body. What's the point? The point is consistent action. Like, so for instance, if you were to sign up to one of my coaching programs, generally they're like 2 or 3 months, something like that, when I say try it, I don't just mean, watch the first training or read the first training, listen to the first training and then, do 1 or 2 things and then decide it works for you or that it doesn't work for you. I mean, really do the whole thing, right? Commit to it, as we've already talked about, and then take action on it consistently. And then the third point, the third key to success is really support, okay? Now, you need some kind of support. I mean, now, if that's uncomfortable to you, first of all, I understand. I mean, I've been a classic kind of lone wolf type most of my life, but I'll tell you, the time that I actually started getting results in this area, actually, the time I started getting results with anything was the time where I just acknowledged finally that I couldn't do it on my own. I didn't know how to do it, and it'd be a lot better, a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot more fun and enjoyable if I asked for help from someone who I could trust, someone who got it because they'd been there and had similar challenges to me, and someone who I was in alignment with in terms of they were helping me reach results that I actually wanted, right? And so when I started to find those people, it made a huge difference to me, and my willingness to, again, step outside my comfort zone and just try something and commit and take consistent action and really follow it through and see it through are, as far as I'm concerned, the reason why I did make rapid progress eventually. I mean, to begin with, I was suffering for a long time because I was just trying to do it on my own and trying all those silly quick fix kind of ways. But when I did manage to take that step and get some support from someone who really got it, some guidance, it made a huge difference. Support isn't just from someone to guide you, support is also from a peer group, So having a group of people around you who are all aiming towards the same thing as you're aiming for is hugely important. Now when I say around you, I don't just literally mean to your left and your right and all the rest of it. This may be a group that you have online, this may be a group that you regularly have phone calls with or Skype calls or whatever. And this is something that's hugely important, that's really emphasised in the coaching programs as well, right? Is that you have a big peer group of people who you contact via numerous ways, so there's coaching buddies, there's the group calls, there's the forums. And so via that, what happens is that you get caught up in this group energy and this group momentum. So again, if you don't want to do it via my group kind of system that's already set up, that's okay. But then I'd encourage you to make your own, right? Or to find one that really does align with your purposes. Because having that support, so having that guidance from someone who's been there and who can get you to the results that you want to get to, and having a group of people around you who are all aiming for the same result is the third hugely important key to success. Now, one more item in the area of support, and that is in the health world, we are going to need some kind of substances, right, to be able to support us. So this may be foods, maybe superfoods, wild foods, sea vegetable, stuff like that, maybe algae or bee pollen or goji berries or whatever. This may be particular herbs. This may be particular high quality supplements. Most supplements, by the way, are garbage. At least 98% of them I wouldn't even give to my worst enemy, or just straight in the bin. But there are nonetheless, certain nutrients that sometimes that are very important to all the processes I talked about before. And so it's really helpful to support of knowing that there's somewhere you can go that has high quality supplements, high quality herbs, high quality foods, high quality equipment as well, to support you in your journey to health. And for that, I really created Lionheart Herbs. So that's www.lionheartherbs.com. Now, I certainly didn't initially envisage that I was going to be some kind of merchant or provider of products. Really, Lionheart Herbs came from initially having this desire to help people to get the same results that I did, and I would recommend certain things to them, specifically herbs to start with, and they would always say to me, where would I get these herbs? And I would have to say, oh, well, I don't know, it's not easy, you have to go here, and then, for this thing you have to go there, and eventually they would say, can I just get them from you? And I said, all right then. So I created like 5 products, and that's how my store was born, based on 5 results, right? And then from there, then I, launched a whole program with lots of different things, because they can all be very helpful, especially if you're depleted. And then people again asked, where can I get all this stuff? Can I please just get it from you? It's so much simpler. And I was really resistant to that, because I didn't want people to think I'm recommending this stuff just because I'm selling it, and I wasn't, right? But they really wanted that convenience, so I ended up supplying it. And so eventually we've come to Lionheart Herbs, which is just an amazing resource for all kinds of incredible high quality health products. Now, you can go to that and watch the introduction video there and I'll explain more about that. But here's the one thing that I'll just say to you. The bottom line of Line Art Herbs is this is the crucial key test that any item that goes in my store, it goes through this particular screening process, and it's this. First of all, when I first started, right, I started with no capital. It's just kind of built from scratch organically based on what people actually needed and asked for. And so one of the questions I always had before I added anything to the store is, if no one buys it, will I use it myself? Right? And the answer to that was always yes. And the answer is still yes. So there is nothing on my store which I personally either do not use, or my wife doesn't use, or that I would not use, right? It's all high quality stuff. And this is really important in the health world because there is so much rubbish out there. There are, for instance, mineral supplements. You know, the vast majority of mineral supplements, pretty much anything that comes in a pill or a capsule or something like that, is worthless for the body. In fact, it can be bad for the body, right? And so you won't find any of that on Line Art Herbs. You'll find, in the case of minerals, liquid angstrom-ionic supplements, which are very, very rare, relatively, like less than 0.1% of mineral supplements are this kind, but they're the only kind that's good, so they're the only kind that's on the store, right? Sometimes people have recommended to me or tried to get me to stock very, very poor quality supplements that have very high profit margins. I absolutely refuse, because to me, it's important to only provide things which are of the utmost quality and of the utmost integrity to you. So if you're looking for supplies for any of these processes, and you are happy to do it on your own, you really don't want my help or support, or maybe you do want my information, in which case, just sign up, but you're not sure about getting support, that's okay. If you need any kind of supplies, I would also highly recommend going to lineheartherbs.com. By the way, if you sign up there, you'll get all kinds of amazing free trainings as well, right? So whatever you do, I definitely recommend signing up to lineheartherbs.com as well. So thanks for watching this video. Please peruse the various links on this site to find out more about each of the things I've talked about today. Just as a quick recap, to work on this challenge and these results, you're going to want to start off with High Energy Academy, which you'll see a link for. To work on these challenges and these results, you're going to look at Complete Detox Academy. And for these challenges and these results, you're going to look at Taoist Health and Fitness Academy. Right? And if you are interested in going to the next level of optimal balanced nutrition, then you might want to look out for the Balanced Nutrition Academy. And if you're really focused and you've already made significant progress and mastered all these, and you want to focus on contributing, so helping other people get results like this, and you're watching this more as a fellow teacher rather than as a student, then I would highly recommend signing up for my How to Contribute kind of program when it's next available. So sign up and then you'll find out when it's next available. Thanks so much for watching the video. I really appreciate your time. And I just want to say, if you've watched all the way to the end of this video, then I can tell that you're interested enough to really follow through with this, right? I can tell you're one of those people who does commit and who does take consistent action. And so I would say that what I've got to offer you, you're really going to enjoy and appreciate. And of course, with all of the paid programs, there's always a money back guarantee anyway, so it's a 0% risk. But I would say whatever step you feel like you're on or you need to master first, go ahead, click on the link for that, register for that, and then I'll see you on the other side there.